What is going on? Mic check, mic check. Try a little bit different on the mic today. Mic check. Get right up on it. Allergy season, people. Try a little bit different on the mic today. Mic check. Yo, just playing Pikmin 4. Look at Blandrew. Blandrew and his Pikmin. Do I own Pikmin? Actually. There you go, Blandrew. Pikmin. 1 and 2. Don't ask me about 3 and 4, because I don't know. I didn't even know there was a 4th. When did Pikmin 3 even come out? Pikmin 3. Had to be a Wii game. A Wii U game. And a Switch game. When did Pikmin 4 come out? Oh, damn. It was recent. 2023. Damn. 87 Metacritic score. Jesus. That one flew under the radar. Which game? Mic check. One's in the chat if we're sounding good right now. Are we too low? Are we too high? What's going on? I mean, these lives are pretty much pods, aren't they? Like, come on. We just don't have a standard time. Volume low. Yeah, that's what I figured, so... We're going to do this instead. And then we're going to... do that. Why am I blurry? There we go. Hi, so what's going on, everybody? What's been new on these YouTube streets? Because to me, it's been kind of boring lately. All right, so there's really not much to talk about here today, but we're going to get through it. Shout out to the homie Blandrew. I see him here to support. Now your camera's blurry. Yeah, I see it, Blacktooth. I fixed it. Don't worry about it. Call it the Savage Cast. Today is a beautiful day. Venom is in Strive, and pool ball setups are back on the menu. Get Jack on here. He on everybody's pod. Yeah, Jack is like the community slut of podcasting. I'll tell you that much right now. Jack is everywhere. So just to touch up on some things real quick, because we just want to pass by the drama and all that real quick. As far as the situation goes, to me, I don't think the situation ever needs to be addressed again. The situation was addressed. The situation was exposed. The situation was defrauded. Or I don't even know if that's the correct word, because he defrauded me, but there is nothing else to be said on the entire situation. I exposed it. I told all. I showed the receipts. And the other party simply does not care. They're moving on. They're going to continue on, moving on, frauding on. I'm going to do my own thing. I said what I said. I needed to do what I needed to do. I needed to say what I needed to say. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. Owari da. He can go over there and keep fraud and do whatever he wants to do, call people names, cry about getting made fun of. Don't really care. That chapter in YouTube, over. Finished. Fin. Owari da. So, I don't want to hear nobody else crying and nobody else complaining about how I keep bringing this up or I won't drop it or whatever. I mean, if you want to really complain, the person that's not dropping it is the person that proceeds to keep it going without ending it, which he could have. As far as other things go, I be in tune with the podcast life on the podcast streets. I see Jack having people over in Memphis, which ironically, these same social rejects, not including Jack in Memphis, proceeded to be crying about me in another man's podcast when they went to visit another man over the internet. Now imagine, you fly to Memphis to go visit Jack Move. And it's a Saturday night. And instead of, I don't know, go out, I don't know, what's there to do in Memphis? I don't know. I'm sure there's something fun. It can't just be drive-bys and fried chicken. Let's be real. But imagine you take the time, energy, and effort to take your sloppily built self on a plane ride or a 6-hour road trip to Memphis. And what do you do on your Saturday evening? You decide to cry about me in another man's podcast. That's crazy. Because ain't no way in hell I'm going to be on vacation thinking about any of you, period. Y'all will be the last things on my mind on any vacation. Hell, y'all are the last things on my mind during the regular course of a day. Not to say that I don't like you, but quite frankly, a lot of what most of you say, I really don't care. Hence, I am not on any Discords. I am not any longer in any Twitter groups. I'm no longer in any Facebook groups. You cannot contact me, period, unless you at me publicly on Twitter. There'll be no more hiding in the shadows. There'll be no more Discord echo chambers. There'll be no more secret group chats. There'll be none of that. Y'all want to talk to me? You got to speak to me. And if you want to private message me and you want to be crazy and you want to act all wild, just know your stuff will be screen capped and posted for everybody to see. There's no more hiding. You're just going to get humiliated publicly. I'm sorry. That's what I do. But, what was my train of thought about the podcast that people were on? Look, I said it, and I'm going to continue saying it. If you're a person that's cool with the snake of the situation, the Cobra Commander, we don't need to talk. We don't need to converse. We don't need to be friends. We don't need to be associates. You do your thing in the grass with the rest of the snakes, and I'll do my thing. So don't be texting other grown-ass men online, complaining that I left your Discord. You know who you are, and if you want me to say it, damn right no I will. But then again, if I tweet it, you get mad too. So what do you want me to do? Exactly. But my point is this, people. We're in a new era. Solo content. Maybe I'll be collaborating every now and again, doing things with others every now and again, but there's no more Skype. There's no more Teams. There's no more Discords. There's no more Steam chats. There's no more Twitter groups. No, none of it. We're going solo from here. You can message me. You can tweet me. I'll respond. We could be cool. But too much backbiting in this community. Too much people being two-faced in this community. Too many people trying to play kumbaya in this community. Too many people saying, oh, you can't make me pick a side. You don't got to pick a side. Y'all can do what you want to do. But again, I am not associating with anybody who associates with people that would legally fraud and scam somebody. Ain't no way in hell you would ever come to my place. Somebody scams you, deceives you, and me be cool with them, and me also be cool with you. To me, that's even more disrespectful. I mean, I could have said you not want to be cool with me, but the fact that you still want to be cool with a scammer, hey, that says more about your character than it says about mine. And again, this isn't directed at anybody individually. This is directed at the entire community and everybody watching, everybody in the whole area, whatever you want to call it, the crumb side, whatever. This is directed at everybody as a whole. I don't want shit to do with you. Nothing. I'm not worried about views. I'm not worried about collaborations. I'm not worried about if people will like me. I am the mayor of hate. Y'all can hate me all you want. I've had people threaten to shoot me. I've had people call me. I've had people reach out to me. I've had people say that they want to fly an airplane into my face like they are the Twin Towers. And the funny thing is a lot of people say this applies to women. Women can't handle the truth. Women don't have accountability. So either two things are true or one thing is the same. Because while women do tend to have those characteristics, I don't think it's exclusive to women. I think it's a human thing. It's definitely a man thing too. Or you could say that these men are acting like women. Because there's a whole lot of lacking of accountability here on YouTube. And no offense, it's not from the women. It's from the men. And saying that women can't handle truth, oh, no. That's not just exclusive to women. That's men too. Because a lot of men here can't handle the truth. They can't. The primary reason people have always been upset with me, have always been upset at this channel, have always been upset at the things I say and the things I do on this channel and on YouTube, isn't because I'm lying. It's because I'm telling the damn truth. When I say something about somebody, it's the truth. When I say something hurtful to somebody that's attacked me, it's the truth. When I talk about gaming, it's the truth. When I give a take, it's the truth. When things come out that I've said and predicted, it's the truth. And the funny thing is, a lot of y'all listeners, a lot of y'all watchers, or more specifically, a lot of y'all haters, y'all can't handle the truth. And that's the biggest problem I've seen throughout my entire history of YouTube. People cannot handle the truth. Look, I'm a results-based person, a metrics-based person. Part of the reason why I like sports, part of the reason why I do what I do in the real, there's no rhyme or reason or feelings. I mean, there are, but at the end of the day, 1 + 1 = 2, B comes after A, winners win, losers lose. Not trying to go around in this endless debate, this endless trial of trying to convince people of the obvious. Just accept that you're brain dead. Just accept you have mental issues. Just accept you need therapy. Just accept that you're kind of a selfish person. That you are so selfish, you cannot understand reality right in front of you. That you will do anything and everything and dick ride anyone and everyone to try to make it feel like you are smarter than people, that you are more right, when in fact, you are factually wrong. So I don't have time to go back and forth with losers. I don't have time for this high school popularity contest. I don't have time to play kumbaya and be friends with people. Who do I talk to online? On a serious note, I probably talk to Blacktooth. I probably talk to Rev every now and again, and I talk to Neo GameSpark. Those are probably the only 3 people I ever have personal conversations here with on YouTube. Now, there's people I'm cool with. You know, you got Blandrew. Smooth, I am still cool with. I talk to Hardy. There's a few other people, you know, I dibble and dabble with and I talk to. But, like, let's be serious, man. I'm not about to Well, I was about to catch myself in a lie. I was about to say I'm not about to get on a flight and meet somebody, but then again, I've already done that, and I've met up with Rev. Wasn't down there specifically, but he lives close to some of my boys. But a lot of y'all need to drop this whole entire personality contest, this YouTube high school echo chamber. Oh, I want to be popular. I want to be like, y'all are just a bunch of losers. That's what you are. I hate to say it, but that's what you are. You got people saying, oh, you've got nothing going on in life, and yet those same people put over 500 hours into a singular video game, upload way more than I do, stream way more than I do, put in way more effort into this than I do. In fact, the one criticism I get here on YouTube is that I don't put in enough effort. And that's a valid criticism, because I don't put in enough effort. I probably could be bigger. I probably could be better. I could probably be doing more views. I could probably be doing more subs. But again, to me, this is a hobby. When you have an LLC, that is no longer a hobby. When you have contracted 1099 employees, that is no longer a hobby. So, hey, y'all can continue to let people lie to you. Y'all can continue to dick ride and dick suck and do whatever y'all want to do. At the end of the day, nobody can touch me. Nobody can say anything to me. Nobody can beat me, because I am untouchable. I am unflappable. I am immortal. I am invincible. I have the toughest skin known to man, and I will crucify and destroy and eviscerate anybody who would ever dare try to talk shit to me. And you will cry about it all throughout your Discord echo chambers. You will cry about it through other podcasts. You will cry about it in your Twitter DMs, and you will bitch about it while on vacations with other men. Because I'm Black Bond, and it's that easy. So, there goes my little intro. So let's read these chats real quick. I cut a good promo, don't I? Yeah, I do. Read these comments real quick, and then we'll get started. Hit that like button, everybody. Shadows is good. AJS got more views than WWP. It definitely did. Mike Cassius, don't be that German guy. Bro, what did Jack do wrong? Memphis is a shithole. Bro, they always gonna be bitching what you expect. Yeah, they always will. The rules of Bond are in full force. BG could sort this all out with one simple talk. See, that, things could have been sorted out. And, the funny thing is, like, people can sort things out and not have to continue working together. People can sort things out and go their separate ways. But apparently, this guy only knows one way to end relationships, business or personal. And that's either scam, lie, or cheat. 3 ways. I would be willing to bet that the men that lack accountability were raised by single mothers. Ain't no way a father being in these people's lives would allow it to happen. I disagree, Great Exposure, because I believe that a lot of dads here today are weak. A lot of fathers here are weak. And that's why we were getting men that act like this. Because I know for a fact most of these guys have fathers in their lives. But let's be honest today. Fathers today aren't stern. They're bitch made. Most of them are. Unfappable. Flappable. Not fappable. Oh, man. Crazy. Anyway, let's get into some of these topics. Apparently, shareholders are accusing Ubisoft, to get my facts straight, of having discussions with Microsoft and EA about selling its IP. I don't know why it's just Microsoft and EA. I think Nintendo could use some of these IPs, but, Ubisoft is reportedly considering selling some of its IPs to companies like Microsoft and EA due to recent struggles. Assassin's Creed Shadows faces controversy before release, putting Ubisoft's future at stake. Yeah, I will say this. Ubisoft's success and their future definitely resides on Shadows being good or not, which is finally good that they decided they needed to delay it polish it, make it better, even though I still see a bunch of crazy glitches and messes in that game. But Assassin's Creed, fortunately, is no longer an annual release. I don't know how they were doing that. Like, this is not a COD game. But from what I've seen, it seems like it's a very good game. It's got 2 million players on it. A lot of these people are playing on Steam, so hopefully it's good, because I don't want developers and publishers to close down or to sell IPs or consolidate. We don't need any more consolidation. We need expansion. We need more creative voices out here. And I know it sounds crazy, you know, talking about... Are we still live? I thought I hit the end stream button, but we're good. Did I hit the end stream button? No, we're good. All right. What I was saying is, like, I know it sounds weird to think of Ubisoft as creative and, you know, we need more expansion for new ideas, but I don't know. Ubisoft has a lot of good IPs. They just really haven't interested me lately. Like, I wasn't interested in the Prince of Persia. I'm not really interested in Avatar, like X Defiant, like Skull and Bones. Like a lot of these games are flops. Y'all know what you need to do, Ubisoft. Please bring back Splinter Cell. Please pick up the phone and call Michael Ironside. And here's another thing. Does Ubisoft own the Tom Clancy Games license? They do. So, we could be getting more Rainbow Sixes, more Ghost Recons, more Splinter Cells, more End Wars, more Divisions. I mean, let's look. Rogue Spear. I mean, dog, like, my dad used to love reading Tom Clancy books. He has so many damn books. Like, y'all could be making a whole Tom Clancy franchise and basically make all these books games like they're Bond movies, and y'all don't want to do that. Y'all don't want to do nothing. So clearly the company is struggling. It's been struggling for years. I can't remember the last time Ubisoft has had a big hit that hit financially. So Juraj Krupa, CEO of one of Ubisoft's shareholders, AJ Investments, expresses frustration with the French game publisher and some of its recent actions. In a statement by Krupa, he criticizes Ubisoft's leadership and mismanagement of the company and accuses Ubisoft of lacking transparency with its major decisions. Ubisoft delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows from 2024 to March without sufficient communication to its investors. That's bad. Y'all... So this game was supposed to come out, let's see, in November. December, January, February, March. That's 4 months. I mean, I don't think that's a big deal, a 4-month delay, but yeah, you got to communicate that to your shareholders. Come on. I mean, most companies, they communicate. Hold on, let's rewind this. Most companies communicate with their shareholders and they're paying customers about delays of a game and while they're delaying of a game. Some companies take donations from people and accept money from people, and they proceed to make bold, rash decisions without talking or communicating at all. Instead, they actually don't say anything for weeks on end, up to a month, and then continue to lie about said reasoning for major decisions. Now, I don't know what kind of company that would be. I mean, what kind of company? Why is my bitrate super low? Okay, it's not low. What kind of company, right, would accept money from paying customers privately who have a stake in what they want to see created, shown, made, and produced, and then make a drastic decision and not even ask the paying customers or the people, the shareholder, whatever you want to call them, Who would do such a thing? Who would be so dastardly, so rat snake like to do such a thing? But I digress. I digress. So I can definitely see why, the shareholders are very pissed off about this. I mean, Take-Two Interactive shareholders, they really don't have anything to worry about because nothing could happen and Grand Theft Auto could just be pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. EA, there's talks about selling some franchises to EA. There's talks about selling some franchises to Ubisoft. To Microsoft. There's talks about selling franchises to other companies. And let's assume that, let's say, Assassin's Creed's not going to be on sale. That's going to be their number one game that they're probably not going to sell. I doubt they're going to sell Far Cry as well, but they got games like Prince of Persia. They can't sell Prince of Persia, in my opinion. I don't see any company that would benefit from Prince of Persia. Nintendo would be the only one, but in that situation, just make a Metroid. Rayman, I mean, you could say that Nintendo could use Rayman, but then they have a billion other mascoted characters they could already make a platform for. The Rabbids could be good. I could see the Rabbids being good. That would be a good franchise for Nintendo to pick up because it's already exclusive to Nintendo anyway. Sells pretty well. Decent franchise. Doesn't seem like it's a lot of money, time, energy, and effort to do. So why not? For Honor. For Honor is a good multiplayer game. I have friends that play that game. I have friends that swear by this game. So I believe a developer could take For Honor. I think Sony could do well with that game. Maybe Microsoft too. Somebody could do good with that game. The Crew, nobody wants The Crew. Forza is on Xbox and PlayStation, and Gran Turismo is on PlayStation. There's no point. Driver, do we really need Driver anymore? Just Dance, somebody definitely needs to pick up Just Dance. I mean, if I'm Nintendo, I'd probably look to pick that up. Might and Magic, I mean, don't really care for it. Watch Dogs, I could definitely see Microsoft picking up Watch Dogs. I don't think Sony would pick that up because Sony doesn't even really make games anymore. They don't really want to do anything. Beyond Good and Evil, I wish Nintendo or somebody would pick this up. That would definitely be a good pickup for a game. But yeah, Ubisoft, they got to do something. Maybe they need to hire Jimmy or bring Jimmy back. I mean, if we're looking at the top Ubisoft games, I mean, let's see. We already went over Assassin's Creed, Rayman, Tom Clancy. Nobody cares about Immortal Phoenix. The Division could be a good game. Nobody cares about, they just have a lot of games people don't care about. I mean, Valiant Hearts, Riders Republic, The Crew Motorfest, Avatar Frontiers. I don't know. I mean, a lot of these games are decent to good games, but for the budgets they put behind them, these games should be way better than they actually are. That would be my primary concern right there. Like, these games need to be way better than what they are for the cost of them making these games. Bond is ass at fighting games. Well, if I'm ass, and a lot of people are more ass than him. Did you beat Unicorn Overlord yet? Yes, I beat it. And that final level pissed me off. You spend a whole hour getting to Galerius, right? And Galerius doesn't have his team. He doesn't have a squad. He's one guy, and he heals by like 159 HP after every match. So, like, the whole first time I played it, couldn't beat him because I couldn't even bring his HP down. Super freaking annoying. So I had to pull a Gundam 00. Basically, take 5 squad leaders from 5 of my best squads and make the overflags to beat them. And that's another thing with JRPGs, really, right? Or bosses and games in general today. Why is the final boss a pushover, but the boss before the final boss is really the main boss and really the hardest guy to beat. And why can't I do a poll? Wanted to do a poll. Guess I don't have options to do a poll. Oh well. Yeah, but beat Unicorn Overlord, so happy about that. Okay, let's see. Went to Memphis once, not much out there. I think that was for the second delay of AC. I believe it was, so they did delay it for a while. Where the hell's Beyond Good and Evil 2? The game has been in Duke Nukem forever. Yeah, they're not coming out with that. For Honor would be good for Xbox if this was the 360 days. I agree, Blandrew. Ubisoft can easily make next-gen game with the right people. They had to do with Splinter Cell gameplay and Prince of Persia combination. Yeah, like... The problem with Ubisoft is this. For the budgets, the time, the energy, and the resources that they're putting to games, their games fall into the range of like a 75 to 80 Metacritic score, when really they need to be into the 85 to 90 Metacritic score. Now, again, I'm not saying reviews are the end-all, be-all. Just use it as like a rough metric. Like, they're not tier... Okay, if we're going to say like Rockstar games and Nintendo games would be like tier 1 games. God of War would be like a tier 1 games. And you got like a tier 2 games like Horizon and things like that. They're like tier 3, borderline tier 4 games with A-tier budgets. With tier 1 budgets, but with tier 3 and 4 returns. That's not going to cut it. Have I played Stalker 2 yet? No, I've heard it's pretty rough, so I got to wait for that one. Next game I'm playing will probably be... I only have one more handheld RPG. Actually, no, I got more. I got Suikoden. I'm probably going to get on MechWarrior 5 Clans more. It's probably going to be doing next. So next up, we got to talk about this, because this was wild to me. I know Blandrew's going to absolutely hate this topic. A new report reveals that 64% of developers are either working on an online or online or couch co-op video game. But unfortunately, a game with couch co-op is by default an online game. An online game is not a couch co-op game, but a couch co-op game definitely has online. So we're just going to say, we'll do a rough estimate. I don't know where they're getting this from, but 60% plus, more than 60% of people are making online multiplayer games. And to me, I find that to be an absolute disaster. Problem with multiplayer games is this, people. Multiplayer games is you're competing for time. Single player games, you're competing for money. If I make a single player game, it sells 5 million copies, right? But nobody beats it. I still sold 5 million copies. But for multiplayer games, there's only a finite number. Like, look, I can buy a game, I can hit it up on my backlog. I've got a backlog. It's not huge. It might be like 5 games now, which I think is good. Everybody has a backlog. But when it's single player games, you can just go to a game, 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 to a game. The problem is this. There is no such thing as a multiplayer backlog. Multiplayer games can come, they can go, they can live, they can die. A single player game will always be around for you to play. You can go back and play a single player game on the regular Nintendo, a Genesis, a Dreamcast, a PS1, whatever. You can always go back and play that game. You cannot go back and play SOCOM. You cannot go back and play MAG. You cannot go back and play MechAssault. Once the multiplayer game is done, it is done. So when I see 64% of people making multiplayer games, I feel like it should be the opposite. I feel like 64% of games should be single player. And the other amount should be multiplayer. I don't think the majority of games... I do not think that only 36% of games should be single player. Now, we also have to figure out like what the definition of online multiplayer is. I mean, the single player games with the online multiplayer features. I mean, I know like Xenoblade Chronicles X, I believe that has some kind of multiplayer, but like, is that really a multiplayer game? But you kind of get my sentiment. But the bottom line is this: we cannot. You can flood a market with single player games because people will eventually get to your game. You cannot flood a market with multiplayer games because time for gamers is finite. Everybody can't be playing every game at once. Everybody can't just be on one game and then one game and then one game. Like, your community can live and die. It just is what it is. So, kind of disheartening to see this. So, a new report backs this claim. I don't know where this report is coming from, but they're saying 64% of developers are working on online games, and this report further states that 60% of developers aim to extract the most value they can from a single game, and that's also very disheartening. I mean, it sounds good to... Actually, no, it doesn't sound good. They're not trying to give the most value from a single game. They're trying to extract the most value from a single game. Oh, and look what we have here. This is done via microtransactions, but the developer's justification for this is the increasing layoffs. So yes, them trying to extract the most value is exactly what I feared, is by microtransact... Who is freaking texting me? Is via microtransactions and by layoffs. That's not good. Also, the overall scale of video games is increasing. 88% developers said gamers' overall playtime is increasing massively, which could be attributed to the quality updates in most titles. Yeah. I don't know about this article. It was written by Sharir Zahid. Apparently, he's a news reporter for Tech for Gamers. He's pursuing a business degree while working as a part-time content writer. I mean, I'm not seeing any sources in this article. Oh, per Unity. The 2025 Unity Gaming Report. But when I click it and I try to access it, I just get unlock exclusive resources. I gotta give them my email, my name, my company, my job role. So take this article in this last 5-10 minutes with a grain of salt, because I really can't confirm this, but we see where gaming has been going lately, people. We've seen the multiplayer bust. We've seen that, you know, these companies just want to make all these multiplayer games, and we see how these multiplayer games are flopping. Blandrew in this chat will tell you that we have told the situation on many times about multiplayer games and how, oh, like, dog, me and Blandrew used to be in the chat all the time, essentially saying, another one bites the dust, and another one, and another one, and another one bites the dust. Like, we out here like Kira from Diamond Unbreakable bites the dust, though. What Killer Queen, just a... And the crazy thing is, it's like, you don't even have to look at the industry as a whole in regards to this whole multiplayer failure, this whole multiplayer chasing the carrot thing. Just look at Sony. Just look at Sony as a whole. They have compromised everything trying to chase Fortnite and Minecraft and all kinds of other silly games that honestly majoritively appeal to children. And you know what? That might be why Factions 2 is a dead game. That might be why SOCOM is never coming back. That might be why Killzone is never coming back, or Resistance Fall Man is never coming back. The biggest multiplayer games out there now today, they appeal to children. Outside of COD, they appeal to children. And one can argue that COD itself appeals to children. You know what? The Great Exposer makes a good point right here. Online multiplayer now in today's space of gaming is nothing but mobile games with AAA budgets trying to be pushed down our throats with gacha mechanics and loot boxes and microtransactions. These games are not quality games. They are mobile games with AAA budgets that they're trying to sell and push down our throats. Michael Wells got Suikoden 1 and 2 remastered on PC. Can't wait for Lunar. Yep, that's what I'm trying to get into as well. Trying to get there as well. Speaking of the great exposure, oh, I know you're going to like this topic right here. My good old man Yoshida. Now, listen and pay attention closely to what I'm about to speak to you and tell you. I'm actually going to post this in the chat so y'all can click it, because I know some of y'all really can't understand what I'm about to tell y'all. Shuhei Yoshida, Sony knew exclusive games were crucial for the success of the PlayStation 1. Does that sound weird in today's environment with gamers, that common sense like this? Yoshida knew that exclusive games were crucial for the success of the PS1. Something that is absolutely common sense, factual, and true. People today will still want to argue with you that exclusives are not important, that exclusives are anti-consumer, that exclusives are bad. I can't with people sometimes. I can't. The PlayStation 1 literally launched an empire that overthrew the king with exclusives, beat the kings at their own game, because Nintendo is the king of exclusives. But don't get it twisted. You don't have to have the most exclusives via first party, via second party. PS1 and PS2 both had the most exclusives. And what happened? What happened? PS3, at the end of the day, ended up having more exclusives than the 360. What happened? PS4 has more exclusives than the Xbox One. What happened? PS5 has more exclusives than the Xbox Series S and X. What happened? The Wii had more exclusives than the PS3 and 360. What sold more? The Wii U had a lot of exclusives, but didn't have the most because it was dead. The Switch, for better or worse, whatever you want to think about it, has the most exclusives. You know, I could probably bet money on this, right? Nowhere in the history of console gaming has the machine with the least exclusives sold the most. It has always been the machine with the most exclusives that has sold the most units of hardware. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PS1, PS2, the Wii, PS4, the Switch. Somebody fact checked me here. I mean, let's look at this real quick. Top selling consoles of all time. Let's see. Number 1, the PS2 mopped the Xbox and the GameCube. Number 2, the DS mopped the PSP. Number 3, the Switch mopping the competition. Game Boy and Game Boy Color mopping the what was the competition? The Wonder Swan mopped the competition. PlayStation 4 beat out the Wii U, beat out the Xbox One, mopped the competition. PlayStation 1 beat out Saturn, beat out N64. The Wii beat out the 360, beat out the PS3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't get down to 8 which is the PS3. So the top selling consoles all had the most exclusives for their generation. They did. Now, there's probably people in the chat that have been gaming as long as I have. I can't think of a machine that's had less exclusives and has sold more. I'll give y'all 2 minutes to figure this out because I'm curious. Y'all can say that the Wii was, a blue ocean or appealed to casual gamers. Cool. You're not wrong. But at the end of the day, the Wii had more exclusives than the 360 and the PS3. That's a fact. Y'all can't deny it. The real Jay Stone, if the market hasn't changed, then we wouldn't see Microsoft nor Sony ever putting games on PC. As I said, I hate exclusives for a long time. See, that comment makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense. Because Microsoft technically has always been putting games on the PC. Sony has also been putting games on the PC. Did we all forget about Sony Online Entertainment? Sony was been putting EverQuest and DC Universe Online, PlanetSide. Both companies have always been putting games on the PC. But I also disagree in the market is changing. The market is not changing because the one company that refuses to change is the one company that's selling the most. So, Jay Stone, I kind of get with what you're saying. It's somewhat true, but that's not the whole picture. Because the most archaic, the most traditional, the most ancient, the most by-the-numbers game company who is doing it exactly like they've always done it, they have to be forced and dragged just to, be up to date. They're the company selling the most. Not only are they the company selling the most hardware, they're the company selling the most software, and they are also the company with the most exclusive games. Not to mention they're the company with the most exclusive single-player games and the most exclusive multiplayer games. I don't think multi-plat sell your console. I think not having them hurts your console. Meaning that you can have exclusives, but you still have to have access to multiplats. So, I would say if you had one or the other, either all multiplats or all exclusives, I would say the all multiplat machine would sell more. I mean, we have the Wii U to look at that. I only say that because, exclusives are a dime a dozen. But you can only get so far via multiplats, as the Xbox brand has shown you. You need the baseline of people with the multiplats, because that's your bread and butter. But you need the market differentiation, the difference in selling brand power. You need the exclusive to say that, hey, I got this over here, they don't. I got the Whopper. I got the Big Mac. You want a Whopper? You got to come to Burger King. You want a Big Mac? You got to go to McDonald's. You can't go to McDonald's and get a Whopper. You can't go to Burger King and get a Big Mac. And it would make no sense to be able to buy both of them at both places because then nobody's making different products and different things. Mercedes ain't selling BMW. BMW ain't selling Mercedes. Porsche ain't selling Lambo. Lambo ain't selling Porsche. If there was only one car company... we shouldn't even need to be having this kind of business conversation in the realm of gaming. Because if you've gone to high school, let alone college, all of this should be common sense. It all should. I mean, look at the political landscape right now with tariffs and competition and building things. Like, if everything was controlled by one entity, we would all be complaining because that one entity would control everything. It would control what they're releasing. It would control the prices. It would control the software. It would control the ideas. It would control everything. As opposed to when there's competition, y'all can't just do whatever you want, because if you do, you run the risk of losing market share. Perfect example. Nintendo said, F CDs, we don't want to do CDs, we want to do our own thing, we're going to stick with carts, and guess what? They effed around and they found out, because the competition, they wanted to try something new. They wanted to be something different. They wanted to try something unique. So, like, I really don't understand this. I don't get it why. Like, look, even if I don't like, let's just say I only played multi-plat games, didn't touch an exclusive, didn't want an exclusive. The fact that these companies are each making their exclusives to tailor to their systems, to tailor to their bases, they are in direct competition with each other to try to get other people to buy their systems. Not only that, but then that raises the bar from third-party developers to raise their game. Come on, y'all don't think that EA, Ubisoft, and all these companies aren't looking at Sony's games like God of War and Horizon? Like, damn, Horizon sold 14 million. Spider-Man sold 10 plus million. All these games are selling 10 plus million as exclusives. Why can't we get that across 3 platforms, 4 platforms? Y'all don't think they're not trying to do that as well? I see you, Blandrew. I'll get to you in 1 second. Like, y'all gotta understand, like, y'all just want to get rid of that whole AFC, the whole NFC, and just have 2 teams in an all-star game. Doesn't work like that. Ubisoft needs to go out of business. Blandrew, are you going to stream the Switch 2 Direct Wednesday? I mean, if I do, it'll be late at night. It wouldn't be live. Blandrew, $10. The crazy part is, once Sega, Microsoft, and Sony went third party, their games and their first party efforts and outputs got way worse. They were way better when they let their games sell their systems. Exactly. Because you're forced to make games to sell your systems. If you don't make games, then people won't buy your systems. And it's not even just that about the quality of the games as well. It's, why are they selling hardware and not making games? Do they not believe in their own hardware? Do they not believe in their own vision? You, as the hardware manufacturer, are supposed to lead, and the rest of the company is supposed to follow. That's how it's supposed to go. But let's get into this article. We got sidetracked. So, during a Sony Interactive Entertainment knew that exclusives games were crucial for the success of the original PlayStation console, according to former executive Yoshida. During an interview with Kyle Bosman on his YouTube channel, I have not seen this video, but I'm going to link it right into the chat right now. Let's see. Guy's got 60,000 subs, 23,000 views. I think he needs more views, so I'm going to put this video in the chat. I hope you guys watch it when you're done watching me. Great video. I'm gonna show dude some love real quick. This guy looks like a nerd, but I'm going through his videos. They seem pretty cool. It's getting pretty good. Damn, I mean, 60,000 subs, and the dude is averaging like 30K views a video. Yeah, check him out. Check out that video I sent you. Let him know I sent you guys there. You know, I'm always about propping people up in the community for people that, you know, do good work. So let's get into this real quick. So Yoshida was asked about the company's recognition of the importance of exclusive games back when the original PS1 launched, and whether he was told the console needed a certain number of titles in order to make it look special. In response, Yoshida said that the idea definitely came up from the management group. According to Yoshida, the management at Sony was very intent to grow first-party development. He mentioned that the company had acquired studios like Psygnosis, maker of the Wipeout series. Meanwhile, in US, Sony had a group of people doing sports games like 989 Studios. In Japan, however, the team was much smaller and mostly involved external development. They supported Yoshida in hiring people and growing internal studios because they clearly knew that the exclusive games are crucial to make the PlayStation platform successful. The former Sony Interactive Entertainment executive was also asked about his first time if he had a good idea as a producer. He recalled that during the game development of Crash Bandicoot, he had raised concern over the game being too difficult for the Japanese market. Which is weird because we got Lost Levels and they didn't give that to us until Super Nintendo because they thought that would be too difficult for us. So who knows? Did we pass Japan in gaming skill? I don't know. So there you have it. Yoshida said important. And if you don't believe me, they signed over 100 developers on the PlayStation 1. That was definitely a thing. But then you also got to realize, and I've done videos on this before in the past, that Sony's output of in-house developers on the PS2 was larger than Nintendo's. They had more game studios and more first-party and second-party game releases on the PlayStation 2 than Nintendo did. Now, keep in mind, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube. Nintendo had 4 generations under its belt, and we're doing gaming even before the regular Nintendo. And yet, in 2 generations, Sony had already had more exclusive games releasing and more development studios than Nintendo. So nobody can tell me that Sony wasn't making an importance out of exclusive games. They'd be lying to you. Everybody knows that exclusives matter. If exclusives didn't matter, then why the hell would Microsoft be spending all of this money trying to acquire them? Now it bit them in their ass because now that they spent so much money, they have no choice but to put them everywhere because there's no possible way for them to recoup their investments. So that was kind of a catch-22. I mean, you spend $70 billion, there's no way you're making that back on Xbox alone. Opinionated Junkie, gaming costs are high to where they can't afford a flop. You're right. So, yeah, that's why Microsoft effectively had to go third party because, dog, like, they spent so much money. There's no way. Like, I don't even think, what was the Bethesda sale? Bethesda was $7.5 billion. Activision Blizzard was $68 billion. So let's say that's closer to $80 billion. Look, I even think Blandrew would agree on this, right? Had Nintendo spent $80 billion on Call of Duty or Activision Blizzard and Bethesda, I don't even think Nintendo could recoup that cost. I don't. And that's not to say anything against Nintendo, but $80 billion. That is a huge sum of money. And I don't think people were correctly understanding, like I was at the time. Like, they're talking about, oh, we're going to make it exclusive. And I'm like, you can't. It'll take you 20 years to recoup that money. And then there's no guarantee that the players that come from all the other platforms are going to want to come to the Xbox because nobody wants an Xbox. Like, that move they made, they needed to make it 5 years prior. And they spent all that time dealing with the court systems and dealing with the SEC or whoever they were messing with. It just took too long. I don't know why they made this. All to give a game away for $1 on Game Pass. Absolutely crazy. Nintendo's entire gaming identity is based on exclusives. Microsoft was too at first until that boy Phil Spencer came along. You ain't lying. That may have contributed to it, but their bottom line issue was game library. Specifically, it was mediocre at best. I agree, Great Exposure, but they kept buying developers, and the developers weren't making games. Ninja Theory ain't hit. I'm sorry. What's it called? What'd they make? That Nightblade game with the crazy chick. What did they make? See, I can't remember the game they made. Hellblade. There we go. Like Hellblade, not going to be it. I'm sorry, just wasn't. Anybody that says exclusives are bad hasn't been gaming since the 8-bit era. Like, here's the thing. Like, I get what the Great Exposures is saying, but like, you don't even need to go back to 8-bit to understand exclusives. Yes, Nintendo was making a monopoly. 16-bit generation was the biggest console war ever, going back and forth, tit for tat. Saturn, PlayStation 1, and 64 was won based off of exclusives completely. The PlayStation 2 had the most exclusives. That's like that system won. Like, even the PlayStation 3's comeback was started around an exclusive in Metal Gear Solid 4. Like, the Great Exposure isn't wrong, but like, if you were alive during the PS3, you know the importance of exclusive games and how these people don't understand it, don't get it, don't know, or just pretend not to know, it is beyond me. Opinionated junkie, China and Japan are gonna own gaming. DI needs to go. MS buying studios would have paid off during the 360. Yeah, like they could have had Spider-Man. They could have owned GTA. They didn't want to spend the money, and then they wanted to break the bank once it was too late. You know, another thing I did want to talk about, Sakurai, he said something. Me and Blandrew were talking about this. Let me find this article. It says it was misinterpreted, so we're going to... I'm glad I was late on this one. You're right. 16-bit era is by far the best study for the power of exclusivity because Nintendo had an iron grip on the games industry, and Sega came in there and whooped that ass in America and Europe. All right, so I remember Sakurai was saying something about Japanese game development, but now they're saying that, the comments on Japanese game development were mistranslated, leading up to a misinterpretation. So a recent interview with Super Smash Bros. Creator Masashiro Sakurai has been the subject of controversy due to a mistranslation caused by a machine translation. Oh, you're going to get in trouble with that, Falcom. You know how you be doing that. You got to have real people do it. The article suggests that Sakurai said Japanese games should be made with Japanese audiences in mind, but this version of the statement was not entirely accurate. The correct translation of his response clarifies that Sakurai did not suggest limiting Japanese games to Japanese audiences. Instead, he emphasized that Japanese developers should focus on making games they personally enjoy rather than feeling pressured to conform to the Western trends. Isn't that the same thing? Make games for the Japanese and not cater to Western trends? I don't know how that was a mistranslation because that was literally how I interpreted it. The discussion stemmed around from a question regarding the recent popularity of Chinese games and what Japan could do in response to industry shifts. This isn't just my opinion, but Japanese game developers should simply make games that they themselves would enjoy. In recent times, I believe there is indeed a movement to westernize and Americanize things more, as various medias are, of course, very well received in America. However, those who enjoy Japanese games aren't looking for that type of Americanization of games. Rather, I think they are looking for something unique and interesting from Japan. Like, what was mistranslated from this article? Blandrew, can you please respond? Because when we were talking about it, this is exactly how I interpreted it. This is exactly how I thought about it. So I don't know what's going on here. The mistranslation had originally suggested that Sakurai was advocating for Japanese developers to strictly focus on their domestic audience. No, it's not what I got. However, his actual statement expresses a broader perspective, encouraging creators to prioritize their own creative vision. maybe I'm just able to read into things more, but like that's exactly how I interpreted that whole article. That Japanese developers should be doing their own thing and not necessarily catering to Americanized and westernized ideas, trends, and audiences. Yes, there are some things I'm glad that Japanese developers have taken from the Western market, mainly online multiplayer interfaces and just modern approaches to some things. Some things in Japanese games do come off a little archaic at times, let's be real. I mean, they're a little behind the curve on some things, but as far as like gameplay and story mechanics, for the most part, I feel like they're well above and more innovative than American counterparts. And again, I still want everybody to be different. I want everybody to be unique. I want everybody to be innovative. What's the point of Japanese developers if they're just trying to be American developers? What's the point of American developers if they're just trying to be Japanese? It's, cool to sprinkle a little bit of Japan in your Western game and a little bit of American or Japanese game, but like, come on. I don't like Capcom, for example. We'll just use Capcom. I like Capcom. Capcom's making good games. Now, see, I can't just discredit Capcom, though, because when Capcom was leaning well into the Japanese games, they were failing. And we were thinking that Sony was going to buy them, and they weren't doing good. So Capcom has adopted a lot of Americanized and Westernized things in regards to game development. But as a whole, I still think Capcom is primarily a Japanese game studio, and their concepts and ideas are Japanese. But if there was a limit to how westernized I would ever want a Japanese company to be, Capcom is pushing that limit right there. I don't want to see any Japanese company go any more Western than what Capcom is right now. Capcom is at the limit where like they cannot push into the West anymore, like without compromising what it is to be a Japanese game developer, in my opinion. Strictly my opinion. Jazzy Jefferson, $20. Switch 2 going to be the only console out with 3 exclusives. Variety from first party and third party. Can't wait for the downplaying from the Sony fan base while they wait for a showcase. Look at Jazzy. Maybe you need to be on Jiggy Rap Battles because that rhymed. Sega failed because of the add-ons to the Genesis. We now have PlayStation Pros. Oh boy. Sony can't afford to do exclusives right now. I mean, that might actually be a truthful statement. When Sony dropped, wasted, and burned $2 billion of money and over a decade, probably a combined 30 years of development time and $2 billion with all these studios in totality, you might be right. They might not be able to afford to make a game right now. And you know what? If they started to make a game right now, they might as well make it for PS6 and make it cross-platform with the PS5. JRPGs have the best stories. Yes. I mean, I wanted to do a poll. I put it on Twitter. Let's see this poll real quick. So I put a poll on who is the king of Japanese RPGs right now. Follow me on Twitter, by the way. Almost at 3,000. Okay. Don't know if y'all can see this. We're going to check. Right there is the poll. Focus camera. There we go. OBS updates and kind of messes up things. So, the king of Japanese RPGs with 175 votes. Square Enix at number 1, 38%. Atlas at number 2, 35%. Monolith Software at number 3 with 15%. Nihon Falcom at 12%. Now, here's how I'm going to interpret this real quick. Atlas can't be number 1. I'm sorry. As much as I like Unicorn Overlord, and I've heard Metaphor is good, we have not had a Persona since the PlayStation 3. Persona 5 is a PlayStation 3 game. We did not get a PlayStation 4 Persona, and we still have not gotten a PlayStation 5 Persona. Let me see this shit. Persona 5 came out 2016, 9 years ago. 9 years, people. 9 years since we've had a new Persona game. I did not even buy this game on a PS4 because at the time I was like, why am I going to buy a brand new machine for this game? It doesn't make sense. It's a turn-based RPG. Performance isn't even a thing. Why am I going to go out and buy a $400 machine to play it? And yet, here we are, 2 consoles later, and we still don't have Persona 6. Crazy. Absolutely insanity. So for that, let me look up Atlus's latest games. So they're just... I mean, I did not care about Shin Megami Tensei 5. Game was utter garbage compared to Shin Megami Tensei 4. Let's go to their wiki. Release dates. Okay. Haven't got around to Metaphor. I'll probably get that when it comes to the Switch 2. Don't really care about Persona 5 Tactica. Unicorn Overlord is amazing. Don't care about Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. Etrian Odyssey, not my kind of game. Persona 3. Like, dog, how many times do they want us to play these damn games? How many? How many? Make us a new damn game. Like, it's crazy. And y'all keep buying them. And then they just keep making expansions or updated versions. Shin Megami Tensei 5, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, Persona 3, Persona 3 Fez, Persona 3 Reload, Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal. Nobody cared about Soul Hackers 2. Soul Hackers 2 was not a good game. People thought it was going to be a good game. It wasn't. Not to mention, the Soul Hackers and the Metaphor game, they kind of both resemble Persona. They need to switch it up. And Persona already has the same monsters as Shin Megami Tensei. And I believe Soul Hackers does too. Yeah, so Soul Hackers, again, it's been a while since I've played one. Soul Hackers, Persona, and Shin Megami Tensei all use the same damn monsters. 3 damn franchises all use the same monsters. Like, Atlus should be dead last in this. Square Enix, 38%. I mean, I can see them winning by default. I mean... And not just because of Final Fantasy, but you also got to figure it's not just Square, it's Square and Enix, and they did have the Dragon Quest games, but what have they come out with recently? List of Square Enix games. Let's see. Oh, I did not know they're making a Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remake. But they got, the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remake. They got the 3 remake. Dragon Quest 12 is going to be a big hitter. Kingdom Hearts 4. I mean, they've come out with but Square Enix has been kind of mid too. I didn't really care about the latest Mana game, the latest Front Mission game, like. Fantasian, Neo Dimensions didn't really care about. The Pixel remasters are good. Vision of Mana was okay. Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, they're okay. Like, Star Ocean, the second story R, I own the original. I don't really care much for that game. Don't really care much about Live Alive. Like, yeah, okay. Here's my list right now. If I was going to rank this, Neon Falcom is number 1. Easily, simply, creatively, bar none. Falcom be putting out games, people. Not only does Falcom be putting out games, they be putting out fan service. So, we're getting the Trails in the Sky games, the remake. We've been getting tons of Legend of Heroes games. We've been getting the Ys games. Ys and Legend of Heroes games alone have been consistent and consistently good. I heard we're getting another Xanadu game. I can't wait for another Xanadu game. But just with Ys and Legend of Heroes, I would say that Falcom is taking it. They have a high output. I mean, I'm just looking at it right now. There's not any time where they're not releasing big games. They just release big games. And maybe not the big AAA games and everything, but they release games. Now, I may put Monolith Software last here. I would rank this as Falcom, Square Enix, Atlas, then Monolith Software at last. But I'll say this about Monolith Software. We're talking about what is the premier franchise, the premier series in Japanese RPGs, even above the Legend of Heroes, because the Legend of Heroes is an arc. It's not a singular game. I mean, there are some singular games like Second Chapter and Trails of Azure that, to me, that are like top 10, top 20 JRPGs all time. Easy. But if we're talking about the franchise that is the new face of JRPGs, has to be Xenoblade Chronicles. Has to be. Has to be. It is out there. I mean, like, we can look at the Metacritics, the sales. Let's see. Like, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Excuse me. 89. The DLC, 92. Definitive Edition, 89. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, 83. And to me, that's only because the performance is shit. DS version of Xenoblade Chronicles, 86. Chronicles X, 84. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, DLC, 80. Definitive Edition, Xenoblade Chronicles X, 88. Like, I'm sorry, but when it comes to consistency, when it comes to prevalency, when it comes to the reviews, the sales, like, nobody is as consistent as Monolith Software right now. As much as I want them to try something new, they're doing pretty good with what they're doing right now. If anything, I don't want a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or 4. I want a Xenoblade Chronicles X2. I want the mechs, but I want it in an actual good RPG with a story, with characters, with antagonists, with villains, with towns, with all the good things I want in a JRPG. Xenoblade Chronicles X to me is unfortunately a giant open world dungeon crawler with amazing combat systems. But as far as a story goes, as far as a role-playing game goes, as far as a Japanese RPG goes, it leaves a lot to be lacking. And I do have that review up on my channel. If you want to watch it, it is of the Wii U version, but it still covers the basis and my problems, my issues, and my criticisms with the whole game in its entirety. But yes, Falcom is ramping it up and is soon to be taking this crown. But Xenoblade Chronicles, And Monolith Software has put that franchise, to me, above Final Fantasy and above Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest just does not come out enough. The last Dragon Quest, which was amazing, don't get it twisted, but that came out in 2017. Let me make sure I get... Yeah, 2017. So that's 8 years ago. Like, y'all got to release games. Got to release games. And in that amount of time... Yeah. So in that amount of time, the last Dragon Quest came out the same year as Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out. And in that amount of time, you know, Monolith has created Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It has created Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It has made a definitive edition. It has made multiple DLCs. And it has remastered Xenoblade Chronicles, the original. So, yeah, they need to up their ante with Dragon Quest. It should not take 8 years for a Dragon Quest game. Final Fantasy, to me, has been floundering. Don't care for 16. Didn't care for 15. Rebirth is a masterpiece. The problem with Rebirth. And for those who say, oh, but Bond, you don't play any games, and, you know, we talk about all these games, but you never play them. You know, you never play 15. You never played 16. You never played Remake. You never played Rebirth. You never played any of these games, Bond. You don't play games. But yeah, I'm talking about them. The problem with Rebirth, even though it's a masterpiece, right, is there's tons of things to do, tons of mini games and stuff, and tons of things to get lost in, but they unfortunately make them borderline a requirement to get things in advance. If these things were just for fun, or just for gold, or just a pastime, I'd be 100% cool with them. But they incentivize you so much to do them, you feel like you have to do them, and then you're just wasting time in doing them, if that makes sense. X2 or new IP, I feel like it's time for X2, Blandrew. I feel like after 3 Xenoblades, they can take a break from it. I feel they could do Xenoblade Chronicles X2 because the scales and everything were a good idea. I don't think everything was properly executed in the original game, so I feel like they can get that. I believe a port of Xenosaga should come. Who has the rights to Xenosaga? Who owns the rights to Xenogears and Xenosaga? Damn, Gears belongs to Square Enix. Saga belongs to Bandai Namco. Well, hear me out on this one. If Saga belongs to Bandai Namco, they should just release it for everything. They should just remaster it, whatever. Or they should just say, hey, you know, we partner with you plenty of times, Nintendo. Can we partner with you again to make this exclusive? Gears belonging to Enix is a problem. Because still the biggest travesty in gaming is not having the completion of the second disc. But here's where I think things could be good. This is the biggest long shot of all time. But if I'm Nintendo, I'm assuming that Monolith is working on Xenoblade Chronicles X2 because they want to have a grandiose mech game with battles and graphics for the Switch 2. That's what I'm assuming they're working on. The Switch 2 is going to sell. It's going to sell in Japan. I would love for Nintendo to contact Square Enix and say, look, let's remake Xenogears. It's going to be exclusive for the Switch 2. We're going to remake this game. We're going to remake the second disc. We're going to remake it from the ground up. Be an instant day one buy. I drop $100, $200. I don't care what it costs. I would buy it. Or maybe, you know, look, Square Enix ain't doing nothing with Xenogears. Can we just buy the IP? Bandai Namco is not doing anything with Xenosaga. Can we just buy it? Come on, Nintendo, just buy it. Make a whole giant Xeno collection. Come on, something, please, anything. That'd be nice, please. A man could wish. But anyway, people, I think we've gone on long enough today. We are at an hour and a half. That's a half hour more than I'm normally at, but like the real J Stone says, Square Enix has no interest in remaking niche titles like Chrono Trigger or Xenogears. I don't think Chrono Trigger needs a remake. I don't. It's a perfect game in its own right. But Xenogears needs a remake or a remaster. More so than any other game, because the game as a masterful and as a masterpiece of it was never finished. And I'm surprised fans never try to go in there and finish it. Like, let's Google that. Can fans finish? Has anybody attempted this? Because like it was like a visual novelization. Because they ran out of money. Why FF6 is the best FF game? You gotta play it. They brought back Mario RPG. That's a good point, Blandrew. They did bring back Mario RPG. Xenoblade is good. Ironically, though, like... that Switch was definitely holding back Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'll give it that much. Well, we'll get out of here, guys. I appreciate y'all showing up. I appreciate y'all doing the donations and everything. Did I get everybody's super chats? Yes, I did. Thank you, Prince Revolver, Opinionated Junkie, Jazzy Jefferson. Y'all are all cool people, even if Jazzy hangs out with some not so cool people. But I'll catch you guys next time. Hopefully, you know, we'll get some better news. I mean, there just really wasn't much going on this week. But I'll catch you guys next time. Catch you guys next week. And y'all enjoy your evening. Enjoy your night. Peace out.